What is going on YouTube? Kronos here and welcome back to Tower Fantasy. I know, a bit weird. Can't say PSO2 because we're not currently in PSO2. But it's been a little over a week, getting close to the 2-week mark actually since Tower Fantasy went live. Yeah, I mentioned to you guys I'll be playing the game itself, and I wanted to go over what I've done so far, what I've learned, and what the future of this game will be on the channel. So, quick disclaimers. I guess one, this video is going to be completely freeform, so expect me to jump all over the place and the video to run on longer than I expect it to. Two, no, I have not quit Phantasy Star. We have not quit PSO2. We're definitely still playing PSO2. I have just done everything I need to do in PSO2 to infinitum. I've got tons of resources. My character's completely stacked out with maxed out gear. So at this point, doing anything in PSO2 is just, I want to do it because I have the time. This is a fantastic time for a new game to show up while I'm pretty much done with everything I need to do in PSO2. So I will be checking out Tower Fantasy for right now and, just enjoying it with everyone else. This game's a full-on new MMO and it's actually been really fun. I can't say new completely because it's existed in other regions, but the global version is new to us and I'm having a blast. Second off, I guess I will go ahead and mention it now. This is a gacha. If that is a problem for people, by all means, walk away. I totally understand where you're coming from, but I will say, as far as gachas go, and I've played quite a few of them, this is probably the most generous gacha I've ever played in my entire life. Like, if more gachas were like this, I feel like the stigma in gachas wouldn't be nearly as bad. However, at the end of the day, it is still a gacha. My feelings aside are for why those exist nowadays, and the issues with the gaming community in general are a completely different video, but it is a gacha. We're going to talk about the mechanics and how those actually work out to see if that's something that you might want to get into. Totally up to you. So the next one is the elephant in the room. Is this just a Genshin ripoff? Well, in the sense of it being an anime-based game, in the sense of it being a gacha, in the sense of it having open world exploration, climbing, swimming, and all that stuff, yeah, it's very much like Genshin. But that wasn't originally specifically to Genshin in the first place. That existed in other games beforehand. As much as you heard Genshin being called, what was it, a Breath of the Wild clone, but anime, you'll hear Tower Fantasy being called a Genshin ripoff. Now, that's where it kind of ends as far as being comparatively to Genshin, because the combat's very different, the combat style is very different, it's a different feel, story is very different. I will say, even as someone who doesn't like Genshin as much and really likes Tower Fantasy, Genshin is a more polished game. Genshin also does have a better story, but Tower Fantasy story is not fully fleshed out for us yet that I have personally experienced because of the way the game actually works out, and we'll talk about it in just a second. Tower Fantasy story is getting better, but Genshin's been out longer and has a better story overall. So credit where credit is due, does have that going for it. But Genshin also has the advantage of not being an open world MMO. It is mostly a single player game that you sometimes play with up to 4 people. So that's where things are gonna be different. In Tower Fantasy, you can go out and world boss with like up to 30 people. You have a guild and everything else. In Genshin, you can at most play with 3 friends. And it's a bit limiting because you're down to 1 character. So just something to keep in mind as you move forward. Now, Tower Fantasy, when it comes down to its, this is always a fun topic to go through, the gacha mechanics. So a few things to note. Tower Fantasy does do a bit of gating when it comes to its character creation, or not character creation, but its character in general. Now, I've heard stories or I've heard reports of different things, so I'm going to go ahead and mention both of these. I'm sure someone in the comments will have some information below, but I haven't been able to find official resources that have told me exactly how this works out, so I'm not going to report on it exactly. I'm going to let you know both sides of this. So Tower Fantasy does this thing where it gates level cap and some open world boxes and chests and things of that sort. So you can only go so far in the story. As you can see, my story right now, new chapter opens in 22 hours. And I've been playing basically the story, catching up every single day. Like, I've been on top of it since the servers went live. So I'm as far as I can actually get right now. And the level cap increases. Now, over time, the level cap will increase. I think on day 1, it was 18. Day 2, it was 24. Day 3, I believe it went to 20. I want to say 26, 27. I can't remember exactly where it jumped up to, maybe 28. But like, it's been going up little by little each day. Some people say that's based on when your character is created. Some people say it's based on when the server is created. I have seen reports of both. I have seen proof of both things happening. I think that has a lot to do with some of the jank that existed for some character or some people when they made their characters when the servers went live. I do have a friend or two that lost their character at the very beginning for some reason when the servers got messed up. so they had to end up recreating them and ended up being behind as far as some items were concerned, but then caught up as far as others. So I'm not sure how that exactly worked out. But either way, it's worth mentioning there is a bit of gating. If you're someone who likes to just explore everything before you go to the next area, that's going to probably irritate you. Totally understandable. Myself personally, I like having specific goals in mind and going forward to that goal until I can't go anymore and then moving on to something else. So for me, this works out really, really well. My OCD does not need to like freak out on me or anything like that. I can work on story until story is done and I can't do any more story, then I can move on to the next task. So it works fantastic for me. But for someone who's like, I want to explore everything and do everything at one time, it's super inefficient to do what I usually do. So for them, they wouldn't like it as much. I know I have friends that are like this, that are like, yo, I want to grab everything, and they can't grab everything and it's annoying to them. So totally valid, totally understandable. Absolutely with you on those. Does not bother me nearly as much. So as far as exploration goes, I will say we're at like day 11, day 12, I think at this point in time. And I want to say everything is pretty much opened up except for in this area right up here. So been 11 days in and most things are opened up. Also, some people are basing on when things unlock based on the CN servers. I can tell you from experience now, as far as experience is concerned with like level caps, has not been the same time frame. Opening up boxes has not been the same time frame as well. I was gonna say Google, but Global has had a more accelerated time frame. So if that does irritate you, just know that if you stick it out, it's not gonna be an issue for a super long time. So now let's talk about the actual like gaming mechanics, like weapons and things of that sort. So in Genshin, you pull for characters and weapons. In Tower Fantasy, you pull for weapons and what they call matrices. Basically, there's little chips you slot into your weapons to increase their power. I'm not going to go into too much detail. It's a very broad overview of the system itself, but it gives you enough information for you to be able to basically be involved in it. So when it comes to characters, you pull for those weapons. The way the gacha actually works, you have 3 individual banners. As you can see, we have the weapons galore, weapons choice, whatever you want to call it. This is just the standard banner. You also have the black nucleus banner. The black nucleus is a currency that's a bit more abundant out in the world. These tend to be valued a little bit less, but essentially you can still get the high rarity weapons from these banners as well. There's just no pity on this banner itself. Now, I guess I have to talk about the different rarities. So in case you're curious, you have Rs, SRs, and SSRs. Rares being kind of like the throwaway weapon they give you at the very start. SRs being kind of like more closely aligned to free to play a bit more since they're more readily available. And then the SSR, the top of the line, top tier weapons. Now you're probably thinking, oh, I won't be able to get these unless I spend money. No, actually everyone will have SSRs. It just depends on how quickly you'll get them and will you get the ones that you want, because it is still, it's Gamba. It's a gacha. It's something you sometimes get lucky and sometimes you don't. So worth mentioning and being as transparent as possible about, because I don't want you guys to get the different idea or that I'm gonna like sugarcoat that sort of thing. It's a gacha. With gachas, you're gonna spend money if you really, really want to get certain things, unless you just get super, super lucky. So how does this actually work out? So it's a bit different than Genshin's pity system. Actually, I wish other games use this pity system. Essentially, your first 30 pulls, you guarantee get an SSR on a brand new account. After the first 30 pulls up to 80, new SSR. And at that point, it's every 80 pulls is a free SSR at that point. Well, not free, but is a guaranteed SSR at that point. Now, cool thing is if you get an SSR at 50 pulls or at like anywhere in between the 1 to 80, you still get your SSR at 80. You can get an SSR at 79 and still get a guaranteed one at 80. This doesn't reset because you just got lucky, which is really, really cool. And I wish a lot of other games did this. Like I mentioned, Black Nucleus doesn't have a pity. This one does. There's one for the matrices as well. It's 40. There's more to this than just this that I'd like to talk about, but it's a bit more complicated and I don't want to put it in this video. We'll talk about it in a different video. Limited banner, special character, 50% chance rate up. Essentially every time you pull an SSR on this banner, there's a 50% chance it's going to be this character specifically. Things of note, it's a different nucleus. So it is a red nucleus as opposed to the gold ones. These ones you don't really find out in the world. You have to purchase with these black crystals that you do technically get in the world. They're not necessarily infinitely farmable, but you get them for like dailies, weeklies, one-time rewards, all kinds of cool stuff that you use to then purchase these red nucleus, which you can then do pulls on this banner. Things to note with this banner: one, when the banner ends, when you pull on the banner, each pull you do gives you a flame gold rebirth. When you hit 120 of those flame gold rebirths, you can use them to purchase the weapon guaranteed. Every SSR you pull, even at your 80 pull, does not guarantee your nemesis. So you can get super unlucky like myself on my first go through of this and not get one all the way till the 120 pulls and have to use your 120 on getting a nemesis here. Or you can get super lucky and every single SSR you pull is nemesis. So just depends on the individual how lucky you're going to get. Things of note is these flame golds do turn into these black golds when this banner ends, and this pity does not reset when this banner ends, meaning that I will be 37 out of 80 on the next banner once it pops up. I'm basically done with nemesis. We'll talk about that in a moment. But that's basically the long and short of it. It's very, very surface level as far as the explanation of these banners. There's a lot more to them. I just don't want to get into them too far. So my experience so far with the game, there's like one pay to win mode, to be perfectly honest, and that's about it. Everything outside of that, everything's cooperative. You're just trying to be as strong as you possibly can to help your friends or help yourself. As far as my pulls in the game, I got lucky. I got very lucky, actually. Pulled Crow, not the best character in the game, and I'll talk about that more in the future, but still very good. And pulled King, one of the best shield breakers in the game. We'll talk about shield breaking in a different video. But these are the two characters I wanted, and I pulled both of them. This one was my free 30 pity. This one I got in Black Nucleuses the same day. So these are my two first SSRs, and I was super excited. That got me playing the game. I know for me personally, whenever I get into a gacha, I pretty much give it enough time of like getting all of the free pulls. Basically the point that most people will say, like, you re-roll an account, do all of my pulls, see what I get. If I like the game enough, I'll try again a couple of times. I'm not a huge fan of the game. At that point, I'll just give up if I don't get anything I really like. I know Genshin, I re-rolled 7 times just to get Diluc and eventually got him. I was very happy that I got him, but at the same time, wouldn't have want to re-roll any more past that because I re-rolled 7 times for that, and that took a few hours to get taken care of. But Genshin was a lot of fun, so I went for it. As far as characters go, whenever you're rolling on characters, I didn't mention this, I guess, in the banner portion of this, but these golds, these black golds, can allow you to purchase dupes. Up to 120 of these will get you a dupe, but you can only purchase dupes of characters you currently have. Dupes essentially will unlock more stars on the characters. So you see I have 3-star unlock on Crow. Super cool character, like him a lot, and of course more stars means more damage for that character themselves. So we do have 6-star Nemesis. Yes, I got very lucky actually with my second run through of this banner. I did spend a bit of money. That much is obvious. Like, there's no way I would have gotten all this free to play, but at least not in this short period of time. But I could have gotten Nemesis free to play. I technically did get Nemesis free to play, but any of my follow-ups afterwards, I just ended up spending money on. So, and there was a reason why I went after this character. Again, I'll talk about that in another video. But as far as dupes go, more stars means more bonuses, more buffs. Very, very similar to Genshin and its constellations. But I got pretty lucky. Had a good time, spent some money, totally okay with that sort of thing. If you don't want to spend any money, you totally can play the game free to play. Plenty of people have been playing it free to play, having a great time, killing it, taking care of business, having no issues whatsoever. But you can whale in this game and it will make you fairly strong. Now, how far ahead are you going to get? Not really that far ahead unless you're playing one very specific game mode. So let's talk about the game modes really quick. There's only 2 I really want to touch on. Everything else is just very, this is MMO sort of stuff. But if you're someone who's like, you know what, I like to push, I like to try to be the best in the game itself is something, this is where you'll probably be like, I'm done, I don't want to deal with the situation, is the Bygone Phantasm. This is a solo ladder push where the whales are going to be the ones on top. Last I checked, this guy was like rank 2 on the server, and he had the best team you can possibly have in the game right now, with the highest star rating on the 2 units he needed to have it on the most. So he was absolutely killing it. I was actually neck and neck with this dude for a while he was still roughly about where I was as far as my team is concerned, except he had a better main DPS unit than I had. And then I want to say 2 days later, he blew me out of the water, essentially, after he did a bunch of upgrading. So absolutely killing it. This is basically where, like, if this is what you wanted to do, like you're solo pushing and you're like, this is what's pay to win, then yeah, you're not going to get involved in this. Outside of that, everything else is either solo that you can definitely complete as a free to play without any issues, or it's group based, so you're doing it with a bunch of friends. If you have a whale, you're that much more happy about it. I guess we can go on to a PvP. So PvP is a bit of an interesting topic because I've seen reports of certain things, but I haven't been able to confirm them with any actual like official resources. So I'll say that this is more of a rumor than anything else. For a while there was this I'd heard that, you know, if you have more stars in a weapon, that's going to get you more damage, like a 5% damage buff per star you have in a weapon. There's nothing anywhere in official, like unless it's like data mined information or something that existed in CN servers, there's nothing I've seen officially that shows that to be the case. As far as PvP is concerned, all weapons are balanced, all stats are balanced, even the relics you use, which are these gadgets off to the side I didn't show. Go ahead and pop into those really quick. Little gadgets you have for PvP, you can pick 2 of them essentially to take with you. There's missile pods, jetpacks, lava bomb, magnetic storm, cybernetic arm. This summons like a mech. This has, you know, mech arms you can punch with, and there's a bunch of them. You can see they have these little chip ratings. These are basically like stars, but on these instead that you upgrade them. You use the shards to get these to max, and you upgrade them. Upgraded, they have new effects. In PvP, these are maxed, just like your weapons are. Even if I have, like, let's say I take my entire team into PvP like this is already 6-star Nemesis. It's going to just be 6-star Nemesis. My king is going to be a 6-star king. My crow will be a 6-star crow while I'm in PvP specifically. Now, again, I haven't seen any official stuff showing that this is like incorrect, but official sources, the in-game stuff, all shows that all of this is balanced. Things like weapon resonances, which we didn't talk about, but they're like essentially extra bonuses that you can have based on certain characters you're using. Also, there's like the resonance of using certain types of characters together. Simulacrum traits, which are individual bonuses that come from characters that you've pulled. If you have their awakening high enough, is it even called awakening? I think it's like a friendship meter. If you have that high enough, you can unlock certain traits. Those are disabled. Effects of matrices are disabled. So like, you know, the thing I mentioned beforehand, like, you know, you pull for weapons and matrices don't work. And healing effects are reduced by 50%, and you can't use jet boards to extend the life of the matches themselves. So essentially, this is supposed to be completely balanced out. The one pay to win, or the closest thing I can see to a pay to win mechanic in PvP, is you have to have a character. But as you'll find, even the SR characters are pretty cracked in PvP. If you know what you're doing, if you're using the right stuff, you can still do very, very well with not even SSRs. I believe, yeah, Meryl's kind of cracked in PvP, honestly. There's certain units that are just really, really good in PvP. Some that are like just noob stompers, and others that just don't do very well. So if you're getting into the sweat that is meta PvP, just know that you can do very well. And the whales aren't going to absolutely just crush you. It just depends on what units you have. So you have to just work with what you got. Eventually you'll have almost everything, so you should be fine. But that's really about it. I feel like I could go on forever as far as what this game actually is. I didn't really think I was going to do a video telling you guys everything that I have come across. There's a bunch of different resources, things I've loved about this. Vitality is essentially the resin mechanic from Genshin. Essentially, like, you use it on different things that give you resources, but the cool thing about it is even if you run out, you can still run this with your friends and get another resource called support points, which you can use to get even more stuff. So, and a lot of these things are infinite, so you can keep getting support points up to 1,500 a day and then spend it on this stuff anyway. So really, really cool. Something I disliked about Genshin was when I ran out of resin, I couldn't do anything anymore. This is actually really cool because I can just get support points for helping friends. Even if I cap support points, I can still help friends, and it's still worth it. Like, I can still do stuff. It doesn't really matter. So worth it is subjective, of course. It just means, like, you know, I have fun still playing. So that's cool. I don't like the fact that PvP has like this weird window that you can play during. I'm not sure what the reason behind that is, but it is what it is. Apparently there are raids that exist that are coming out. So raids are pretty cool. We don't have those yet. They have these joint operations, which are like, you know, mini dungeons together. You have like gates out in the world you can do together with friends. There's this cool little hide and seek thing they do with the Omnium Beacon, which is pretty dope. But I mean, outside of that, you really have just like your standard MMO practice stuff. You have dailies, you have weeklies, I guess open world games, so exploration. You have fashion, which honestly isn't that terrible. It's not amazing, but there's like maybe 3 paid outfits you can buy. Everything else is either exploration or it's from an event. Like this one here is from an event. I've actually heard that like there's gacha outfits as well, but from all the outfits I saw, there was like, I want to say there was just as many gacha outfits as there were event outfits. So like maybe certain outfits are going to be gacha based while others are event. This one says from an event. From what I remember when I was looking up the outfits, the ones that said from an event weren't gacha based. So we'll have to see when that comes out. But keep in mind, things can always be different for the global versions versus the CN. I imagine the outfits will be the same. I imagine we'll still have gacha outfits, and I imagine we'll still have outfits that are from events. So either way, just know what you're getting yourself into. And that's really all I have to say about Tower Fantasy. I'm having a good time, man. I'm actually really liking this game itself. There's plenty of more to talk about, but I don't want this video to be an hour long of me just sitting here and showing you guys a bunch of crap when it comes to Tower Fantasy. Just know that your boy's having fun. He spent money, but honestly, it's my money to spend, and I've enjoyed it in the time I've played. I can foresee myself playing this game for a very long time. I know there are tons of people that still play Genshin. I feel like this is going to be my, this is the game that I'm going to play to fill that slot for myself, along with everything else that I'm doing. So if you guys are playing Tower Fantasy, just know that we're on the Glade server. We do have a crew called Fantasy Star. If you're looking for anyone, I am Chrono on the server. I happen to get my name, which I was really excited about. And Skulls is running Fantasy Star 2, which is another crew. So we've got two of them. Non-Pon is the commander of this one. Skulls is running the other one. So if you see either one of those, by all means, check them out. And again, Non-Pon is Non-Pon on the server here, as well as Skulls actually being Skulls as well. So we got our names, which is really cool. But yeah, that's all I've really got for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to toss in the comments below. Let me know what you guys are running for your teams. Let me know if, if you're not playing Tower Fantasy, that's totally fine, man. I know some people who have tried it out, it's just not for them. Totally chill, enjoy whatever it is you're playing. Let me know what you're playing to fill in your time. What are you having a good time doing? And I'd love to hear about that sort of stuff. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to keep up with more, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Peace out.